See the weight you carry, it's written in your eyes, the kind of ache that takes up every corner of your mind. You're sitting in the silence, drowning in the doubt. I've been sitting there before, I know there's a way out. The world feels like it's caving in. Those dark thoughts, don't let them win. Just stay. Just stay. It's almost more than you can take. Please just stay. I swear the light will find you someday, and you'll be glad you stayed. So just stay.
Okay, everybody, welcome back to another week of Just Stay. For all of you that are still here, I am grateful for you.
We're really, really, really honored that we have so many people that tune in every week. And I don't know what I was expecting when we started, but I hadn't thought far enough into the future to think that we would have 14. I think this is our 14th episode. And to think that people have followed along the entire way. It's just really humbling, you know?
Yeah, it is. Something that I've had come up for me the last couple weeks is I've been having some major imposter syndrome.
Oh, girl. Me too. Me too.
And to say that, like, our platform has opened a lot of doors for us has been an understatement. We've had a lot of opportunities come our way. And I think when we have these opportunities, the first thing in my head is, are you talking to me?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah. And it almost makes me feel, I think this is my natural tendency, but to feel bad or feel guilty that someone is looking to me for advice or for
guidance.
Yeah, kind of. And I just don't feel like I even praise, people giving us praise for what we're doing and for being so strong and things like that. I mean, I don't know. I just feel like, I mean, I guess I am strong, but I'm just trying to survive and I'm trying to help other people survive, you know? So
sometimes that doesn't feel like strength.
Yeah, that's so true.
Sometimes just feeling like you're keeping your head above water doesn't feel like you're strong at all. But keeping your head above water when the rest of you is going under, I think is the strongest thing that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
Maybe our listeners don't know what imposter syndrome is. How would you describe your imposter syndrome? Because I feel like it looks different for everybody.
Okay, well, I don't know the technical definition, but I do know that for me, it goes along with the feeling of not feeling like I belong, even though I do. And honestly, that's a little bit triggering for me because there are things in my life that I've struggled with feeling like I belong certain places or feeling accepted. So when imposter syndrome comes in, it is kind of like a double whammy, but it's the kind of thing, for instance, I'll use this whole platform as an example. I'm not qualified in that I have expertise. It's not like I am this professional. I'm just a person that has life experience that I was wanting to share with others that could maybe help them. But because I'm not this professional, I end up telling myself, you shouldn't be doing this, or you don't belong here. You don't have anything to offer, those kind of things, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so it really plays into my self-doubt. But yeah, I would say that's kind of what it entails for me. What about you?
Well, first of all, what you just said about not belonging, it's kind of ironic because you're feeling like you don't belong in a space that we created. Right?
Isn't that crazy?
We created the space, and we created the space to be safe for everyone, but I almost find myself being my worst critic. Sometimes when I hear my voice, especially next to your, Kenzie, your voice is like butter. Yeah. And sometimes when I hear
crazy.
myself, I'm like, why do I sound so abrasive? Yeah.
That is so crazy because I think that your voice is like inviting, and
Oh.
mine sometimes sounds like sleepy, like boring.
No.
Isn't it crazy how critical we are of our own voices?
And as we post, I'm like,
Yes.
oh,
I know.
okay. The other thing that I encountered this week was I reached out to a couple people on social media about being guests on our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And in my head, I was like, why would they want to do this? Why would they say yes to me when I'm nobody? And guess what happened? They said yes. And they said yes. And they were like the kindest people, even just through that voice memo they sent me. And I did say a little prayer because I was like, I need courage. I need help believing in myself right here.
Yeah.
And then something that also I have found that's a little bit of a struggle is sometimes when I'm in, and this is what I've done since trauma, I have to like gear up to go to Walmart, right? I have to like prepare myself. Like Troy wanted to go to the rodeo the other night and I was so excited, but I'm going to see so many people.
Mm.
And I feel like when we're out in public, and this may not be happening, but I feel when we are out in public, people are saying, that's the family whose son died. That's the family whose son died by suicide. And so in my head, I have this constant thing. And then I do get approached every once in a while. And I love people being so supportive. I love it. Sometimes it catches me off guard when the sharing triggers my trauma a little bit. So sometimes people's stories and hard times are so close to the traumas that I have yet to deal with that it's a little bit triggering. And I feel a little bit panicky inside. And I don't want to discourage people from coming up and talking to me because I love that connection so much. But my therapist today, I was talking to her about it because it's triggering to the point where I over empathize. And so I start to feel panicky and I start to kind of feel like, okay, I'm not safe in this space. And she said, I need to breathe in the calm and breathe out the compassion and visualize it in my head. So I can breathe in the calm for myself and breathe out the compassion to them. So I don't need to say anything. I don't need to engage. I can just breathe my intention towards them while grounding myself in that space. So
Wow.
I'm going to try it.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, but that's what my imposter syndrome looks like. And then when we get opportunities to be a part of something, I also in my head, I'm like, why do you want me?
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy because when you ask that, I'm like, well, I know why they want you. I don't know why they want me too, which is crazy because we're a package deal. But I totally relate. And I think that that's something that to an extent is normal and natural, especially when we're dealing with heavy, heavy topics like this. I feel that same way today. Randy and I were in a meeting and, people were praising us and saying all these really great things about us. And in my head, this is too honest, but in my head, I think they don't actually know me, or they wouldn't be praising me like this, which is crazy because logically I know I'm a good person and I know that I'm doing this for the right reasons. But for some reason, there's just this little voice in my head that always wants to just bring me down. And so that whole time I was listening, I was just fighting that voice, and it's just, it's just funny. Yep. It's just funny because logically, rationally, I know that what you said, we created this space, so of course we belong. But for some reason, I don't know if it's a defense mechanism. That's maybe something I'll have to, dive deep into therapy. But
I actually got into it was almost a group discussion with all the women in the salon the other day. I have this client who I love dearly. She's one of my favorite people. She is one of the most beautiful women I know. And I compliment her every time she sits in my chair and she makes excuses or says, well, why would you say that? I'll be like, you look so pretty today. She's like, why would you say that? And so I've been coaching her to say thank you. Or it's kind of funny because I have another client who comes off as a very confident woman, very self-assured. She goes, how do people normally respond when you give them a compliment? And I said, watch this. And I yelled across and I said, hey, you look really pretty today. And she goes, thank you. And my client goes, do you know that you're pretty? And she goes, yeah, I do. And my client's like, is that normal? And so it turned into this big discussion of being able to take compliments. And my one client that was like, wow, thank you. She goes, sometimes if people give me a compliment and it's hard for me to take in and me being like, thank you. But inside I'm like, I don't believe it. I'll say, well, that is so nice of you to tell me. But I wonder, Kenzie, when people give you compliments, what do you say?
I mean, I've been trying to be better, but my first instinct is to say, oh gosh, well, my hair is really frizzy, or, oh gosh, well, I'm just breaking out, or no, I feel really bloated today. It's always a comeback. It's never thank you and accepting it.
Yeah. Okay. In the past, when I've given people compliments and they do that, it kind of makes me feel uncomfortable. Like, what do I do now? Do I laugh and make a joke of it when it makes me feel bad inside that they feel that about themselves? Or do I call them out and be like, just say thank you? It kind of puts me in this place of, oh, what do I say? Like, so I've started to just say thank you because I don't want to make anybody feel awkward. But also, like, and take a compliment, okay. But yeah, it's just kind of funny. Like, we're so willing to give other people compliments. I'll walk around all day and be like, you look so pretty today, or, that type of thing. But I will never walk in front of the mirror and be like, dang, Brandy, you look pretty today.
That is so true. Yes, I know exactly what you mean. And when I observe someone not taking a compliment, I kind of cringe because it's that same, you can sense this uncomfortable, that the person doesn't know how to respond or, doesn't really know what to say back. And then I do the same thing. I mean, a big part of it is I think it reflects like how we feel about ourselves, but I also think that some of it is learned behavior. And I hope my mom doesn't get that I say this. I know she won't.
She listens every episode.
She's the biggest supporter. But my mom is seriously one of the most gorgeous people inside and out. And she has a heart of gold. And she's also so stunning in person. And it just drives me nuts that she cannot take a compliment. But it's so funny because, I grew up watching her And she's just, I think it's to the point, like she's so humble and has so much humility that maybe she doesn't think that saying, oh, thank you is humble, you know? I don't know what it is, but I watched her growing up kind of respond, oh gosh, no, that's not true, or don't say that. And, you know, just kind of joking. And so I feel like I have taken on that as some of my personality, but now I watch her and I'll compliment her and just say, Mom, you look so beautiful today. And she struggles taking that compliment. But then I turn around and I do the exact same thing. So I get frustrated with her because she won't take a compliment, but then I do the same thing. So it's just such a funny cycle. I think it's going to be a challenge for me to raise my daughters in a way, and not that my mom did anything wrong. I just think that we can learn with each generation, and my example is going to play a big part in their lives. And so if I'm accepting of compliments, maybe that'll come easier to them.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's passed down and it's learned, but it's also a reflection of how we feel about ourselves. But I think a compliment's a gift. For sure. And by not just saying thank you or that's so kind, you're kind of rejecting that gift that somebody's attempting to give you. Somebody wouldn't give you a gift and be like, oh no,
Please.
It's okay. I don't want it. Or that's not what I wanted. But a compliment, when I say something nice to somebody, I'm giving you that. It's my gift to you to brighten your day, to validate you in some way or help you see what I see in you. But when you don't accept it, it's like a rejection of my gift. So I wonder if just accepting compliments is accepting a gift that somebody else is trying to give us.
For sure.
And maybe if we accept it we can start believing it.
Yeah. I think even just starting by accepting it, period, even if you don't necessarily feel like you believe it, is like a good first step, because not that we have to trick ourselves into believing it, but maybe it's a little bit like muscle memory in a way, that if we keep on affirming people's positive things to say about us, that one day those affirmations will start kind of sticking. I think that's a really good way to think about it. I like that a lot.
Okay, so Kenzie posted a video on Instagram the other week of her daughter Lenny riding her bike. Did you put a video camera on her handlebars?
We did. We put our
Oh my
phones.
gosh, I watched that probably 6 times. It was the cutest thing I've ever seen. And Lenny, every time I see her, she's kind of shy and more quiet and reserved. But she was learning how to ride on 2 wheels. And she was talking herself up and being, watch this, I can do this, I can do this. And I was like, oh my heck. She was her own cheerleader. And then there was, I think it was you yelling from across the field, go Lenny. And she's like, they're cheering for me. My name's Lenny. That's why they're saying that.
Oh gosh. The moment, I wish you could have seen the moment when she got off her bike and we were like, oh, should we watch the video? Because we had no idea what, honestly, I thought she was just going to just be your cute face the whole time. And so when we watched the video back with her, I was shocked at the love that she showed to herself. And it was like a really proud mom moment. I don't think that I've really had many of those just because my kids are so young. But I mean, of course, I'll have little ones. Oh, she shared a toy or, whatever. But it was one of those moments that I was like, maybe we are doing something right, because she just said something like, okay, here, I'm going to make this turn. Watch me make this turn. I did it. Did you see that? And then she said, ooh, go me. I'm so proud of myself because I'm riding a bike without training wheels. And just, I don't know. I just my heart was glowing because I hear her say that kind of stuff, I guess, like while she's playing or, sometimes in front of us, but for her to be doing it by herself and like she wasn't prompted to do it, like it just was from her. It gave me so much hope, and it made my heart feel so much love for her, but also for the person that she's going to become. And then I had the thought, like, why can't we all be like that, you know?
Yeah.
Like, cheer ourselves on in that way.
Yeah.
Like, and not be ashamed by it.
Mm-hmm. Give ourselves that gift.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That was like the cutest thing I've ever seen. And I was also like, she learned that somewhere. Or I don't know, maybe kids are born that way, and it's
Maybe
the world that kind of takes that belief of ourselves out of us.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, it was really neat to see. You should have been proud.
Thank you. She gets really embarrassed when we... she likes making little videos of herself so that she can go back and watch, but she gets embarrassed when we talk about it or show other people. And this is the one video that we were sending it around to our family and stuff. And then I put it on social media, and we're getting a response like, that is so precious. And we've been telling her things that people have been saying about her. And it's like the first time that she's actually really responsive, and she'll say, I can't stop smiling. And it's just because she just feels so proud of herself. And I'm just, it was honestly a lesson for me too. That's how I should be treating myself, you know?
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm going to say it because we just talked about imposter syndrome, and I'm going to follow Lenny's example. I'm proud of us. This has been hard, and we haven't shied away from the hard. I'm proud of us for showing up on the days even when we don't feel like we can.
Yeah. And I'm proud of us I just feel like we've done our best to be honest and real and vulnerable, even if it's really difficult. And I mean, the amount of times that we've sat here and cried, I just think that it would be so easy to just put on this facade and maybe put up some walls and not be honest about how we're feeling if we're struggling, you know? And this is a really hard conversation to have week after week. And I mean, there have been lots of times where we've showed up here at the studio and you're like, I'm feeling kind of off today. Or I say, I'm feeling really emotional today. The other day I said, I don't know if I really want to be here today. And you're like, okay, don't freak me out. But then we just do it. And I've told you this, I always feel better. I always feel lighter. Somehow something always comes up that I needed to hear that lifts me, you know? Mm-hmm. And so I'm really proud of us too. It's a really wonderful thing to be here. I couldn't be doing this with anyone. I mean, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for you. But
whether you want to be or not.
I wouldn't be doing this with anyone else but you. But I just, I'm also just really proud of you, Brandy. I've told you this time and time again. I feel very honored to be sitting next to someone that demonstrates so much strength and courage in their personal life. And it's really inspiring to me.
Thank you, Kenzie.
It's so true.
I feel the same about you. I've seen you persevere through so much and do it anyways. And I wish you could see you through my eyes. I know, okay, this is to our listeners. I know that some of you know us on a personal level, and some of us we've never met in real life, but Kenzie her presence feels good. You walk into a room and people you feel good. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to do anything. You have that presence. And so I am very high strung, and I know that, and you know that. And so I feel like we kind of have this yin and yang thing going on. There was a couple weeks ago where I was listening to myself interview, and I came to Kenzie and I said, I feel like I'm conducting the podcast like I do job interviews at the salon. Because I'm just very like, okay, when you do A, B, C, and D, this is your job, this is my job. Like, and I was starting to run it like a business, and that's not what we're here for. And so Kenzie helped me regroup and mellow out and realize that like this is an emotional journey, and who cares if A, B, C, and D is done.
But see, without you, this podcast would have started in 2 more months. So like we need the giddy up factor that you have. And honestly, Brandy, you have the same effect on people too. People gravitate towards you. This is turning into a mush fest right now.
Yeah, it is.
But really, people that don't know you need to know that your personality is magnetic, and you have so much love to give. I watch you interact with people, and you are just so loving and accepting that I think people are drawn to you, and that's such a gift. That is such a gift.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I really think back to the first time that I met you, and from what everyone had said, like I was kind of scared of you just because you're such like, I don't know how to say it without saying a bad word, but you're a and that's what you are. And so I was really scared of you. But then as I got to know you, I was like, holy crap, she's a wonderful person. And anyway, so I'm really glad that we get to go on this journey together where we truly believe in each other.
Yeah.
And support each other. And
yeah. Me too.
Because I feel like that's hard to come by these days, you know?
I had this epiphany the other night. So I impulsively the other day bought e-bikes.
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
I sometimes do impulsive things like that when I'm struggling or when I'm like desperate for something. And I was desperate for connection with my son, trying to meet him on his level, which is hard to do with a 14-year-old boy because I'm not going to play Call of Duty or Fortnite. I can't do it. So anyways, we walked into this bike shop and I said, son, if I get 2 of these, will you go with me? Like, this is something we can do together. And he's like, oh yeah, Mom, I promise. And you know, when you go to make a big purchase, you're like, crap, what am I doing? What am I doing?
Yep.
And they pulled out all the boxes of all the accessories and stacked them on the desk. And Isaiah said, Mom, look at the boxes. And both of the boxes were labeled number 13. And for those that don't know, that was my son Eliah's number. Like 13 in my family is special. If we see a 13, that's Eliah. And they stacked those boxes up. And Isaiah goes, Mom, look at the boxes. And they both just number 13, number 13. I was like, this is...
What are the odds of that?
Yeah.
That's not a
so
coincidence.
Cool. And anyways, so I've had a lot of epiphanies and realizations and connection with myself as I'm riding these bikes. Sometimes I go alone. Sometimes I go with people, just riding for miles and miles. And I like to go at sunset. And the other night I was riding at sunset with my husband and I was looking at the sky. And on one side was a sunset and it was beautiful. On my right hand side, I just kept looking. Sunsets in Idaho are unmatched. They're absolutely gorgeous. And it was something that my son Eliah, I'd always call him and he'd be with a girl. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, watching the sunset. I'm like, I don't know if you're actually watching the sunset. I'd be like, it's hard to watch the sunset with your eyes closed, son. So the sunset always reminds me of him. And then the sunflowers are starting to come out, and the sunflowers are him. I don't know if you guys are logo for the Just Stay is my son in a field of sunflowers. And my son Eliah is a twin with his sister. And she was a year ahead of him in school. And he came to the house about 2 to 3 weeks before he passed. And he said, Jada, I found where you should take your senior pictures. And he showed her that picture. And it was just the field of sunflowers. And so 2 weeks after he passed, we went and took our senior pictures in that field. And so that's why the sunflowers are so significant to us in the podcast and in our logo. But they're starting to pop up everywhere. And we're coming up on the year mark, and it's, the body keeps score. And so it's kind of, it's coming. Anyways, so I'm writing, and there's all these sunflowers, and there's all these signs from him. And then there's like the sunset to my right, and the moon was coming up on my left. And I call my boys son. I rarely call them by their names. I say, son or son. They'll walk in and be like, hi, son. I just call them son. But I was watching this moon kind of in the darkness on the left, and the sun just illuminating the whole sky on the right. And I felt like the moon. Like I was just constantly going to be chasing the sun. And the moon, they can see each other across the sky and they can feel each other, but they're never going to be together in this lifetime. And so I was watching this and I was like, this is what my life feels like right now. Is the sun goes down and then the moon comes up, and then the sun comes up and the moon goes down. And that's kind of how I feel like the rest of my time on this earth is going to be, is in that constant pursuit of just getting a glimpse of my son. And it was like this beautiful, sad realization,
It's really beautiful and heartbreaking. And I don't even know what to say. I feel like I never know what to say to acknowledge the pain and hurt that you feel, because I truly don't know what it feels like. But the way that you describe it sometimes makes it possible for me to try and imagine, and I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you get through every day.
I have a lot of people say that to me, and I don't feel like I have a choice but to get through another day. What's my other option? Not get through it? I feel like I'm in this really hard space and people always are, how are you still functioning, or kind of what you just said. And I don't feel like I have another choice, because there's so many people that rely on me.
Yeah.
And I can't let them down. And we were talking in the beginning how, why can't we be enough for ourselves? I'm not enough to be here. I'm not enough to keep myself here right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not. But everybody around me who loves me and who honestly needs me, I can't not show up. It's almost like I'm obligated to be here, which is, it's heavy. It's really heavy, but I'm starting to find these moments of peace that I haven't felt in a long time, and these moments of joy. And it's different. It's never going to be the carefree peace, or never going to be the ultimate happiness. I remember feeling quite a few times when I'm surrounded with my kids and with my husband, just feeling this overwhelming joy. And I don't think I will find that in this lifetime again. I'm having glimmers of joy, but there's this, there's like this underlying sadness that it's in my bones. That's not very uplifting. I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. I think that could be really, you know this because we get messages all the time, but I think that this kind of thing needs to be talked about and addressed. And I think there are a lot of people going through grief, no matter what stage, that can relate to exactly what you're saying. So, yeah, you don't need to be sorry, because I think that's one of the important parts about this podcast, is that you're able to say those scary things that a lot of people don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
And this is going to help someone feel a little less alone.
Yeah, I never want people to listen to us and walk away feeling heavier.
Yeah.
How do you talk about mental health and depression and grief and suicide and how do we not leave that weight on our listeners' chest? How can I uplift people with the perspective I've gained, or when I'm still so sad? Like, it's so heavy. And I think creating a safe space, saying our deepest, darkest inner dialogue, and giving people permission to do the same. And then letting people know that it's okay to not be okay. But I really want to add positivity to people's life and not make them sad.
I get that. I think that you actually did that by acknowledging that you've had arguably the most tragic thing that could ever happen to anyone happen to you. And in my opinion, this is an opinion from someone who has never gone through that. I feel like I would never be able, in my head, I would never be able to experience any sort of peace or happiness or joy or anything like that again. I just could not imagine. But you are showing people that there is hope after that. Obviously, the pain doesn't go away, you're saying, and I think that's, I mean, how could it ever? But to me, your story isn't just a story of pain and sadness, but it's also of hope, because now you're experiencing that, yeah, you've had some peace. It's just not going to look like it did before. But to people, I mean, it's the same thing that we've been talking about. When people lose hopes, that's like the last line. Like, that's when they need help right then. And reestablishing that hope is so important. But I think it's just really special that you can share that. And I know you've shared before that you feel guilty in those times for even feeling a glimpse of happy. And so I just think that your real and honest journey is really important for other people.
Thank you. I was thinking about something the other day. You know, when we're in like physical pain, for example, I sometimes get migraines. And when I get migraines, I'm like short and grumpy, and I can function through them, but I'm not myself. The small talk and the chatty and all these things. And something that I've been having to teach my son's friends this year is they'll be like, he was grumpy today. And I'm like, well, when you're in pain, even if it's an emotional pain, you're going to react the same way as if you're in physical pain. And I just say, you know, that's what pain looks like. It's hard to act like yourself and be kind and do all these things when you're in pain, whether it be physical or emotional. And I think that that's important to recognize when somebody's going through depression and anxiety or postpartum or anything like that. They're not going to act like themselves, and they may come off very mean. And that's their pain being visible. And if we were to treat that emotional pain as we treated a physical pain, yeah, we take care of it. We take care of you. We ease the pain. Man, I wish there was ibuprofen for emotional pain.
Right.
I don't know. Maybe there is. So
that is a really great tidbit. I mean, I know that in my personal life, that's been a side effect of my depression is I'll be really short, really irritable, really disconnected. And so when you were discussing, that really rang true to me. I think that it can be really, really hard to acknowledge when you're in that state. I know that when I'm in pain, honestly, I feel like I never really had labor pains, so I don't know what that's like. But the most pain, probably like I would get really bad cramps, like so bad that I'd be doubled over just writhing. And when I've been like that before, it's like, yeah, I'm not myself, you know? And so, of course, if I'm in emotional pain, I'm not myself. Why would I be? How would I be able to tolerate that, you know? I just think that that's a really great point. But Brandy, I really, really appreciate this conversation. I feel like it was exactly what I needed to hear. It always is. And I just feel really grateful. I feel really grateful to be a part of this. And to our listeners, time and time again, we're just blown away by your support. I feel unworthy of it a lot, but today especially, I think that I've just been really impressed by how, I guess, just loving and supportive and kind people are to us, and I'm just so grateful. I feel very thankful to be in this space. We're just really grateful for you guys, so thank you for listening as always.
We'll see you guys next week.
Bye. See ya.